Hello, world, and welcome to Grounded and Guided. I am your host, Lynette, and I'm so glad that you are choosing this moment to be here with me. Today, I want to dive into the power of the individual. The energy is changing, it's shifting. Where once we were all about institutions and building organizations and structures, it's shaking up. We're stepping into a new time where it's about the individual and the rise of the individual. Now, I'm not talking about being selfish, competitive, and egotistical, or the belief that one person is better than another. I'm not talking about one person hoarding all the resources out of lack and fear. I'm not discussing sabotaging and others maiming others for one's benefit. This isn't about that at all. This is not about forgetting the well-being of others. I'm talking about that concept of putting your oxygen mask on first. Learning to be in a relationship with yourself and loving who you truly are. This may mean healing the wounds and the traumas that hold us back and keep us small. I'm talking about becoming the best version of us so that we have capacity for others. I am talking about being connected with our truth, our authenticity, and the gifts that we have to offer the world. Because you see, when the individual is open and loving and locked into their personal power, the world rises and we live in a better place. This all starts with you, the individual. There is so much we can do when we have the bravery to get to know ourselves, love ourselves, and trust who we are, and share that person with the rest of the world. Now I sit here and I say that, and I recognize that that can't be easy. That isn't easy. That can be really hard sometimes. I get that. I totally get that. I have walked that. I have walked the life from keeping it small, tight, controlled, protected, to a life that is open, empowered, loving, and free. And it was a process to get from one space to the other. So I get it. I totally get it. I have been there. I have walked that walk. So I really, truly understand the power of the individual, what life can be like when we live from a very heart-centered led place. I can see how the world could be so different if we had the bravery to lead with love from the empowered individual. In this work as a channeler and an energetic healer, I've really gotten to understand, see, and experience just how individualistic we all really truly are, how unique we are. You see, we are all a soul with our own unique essence, juiciness, flavor. And as souls, we have a very unique energetic signature, a specific blueprint, a vibration. There's an essence that is unique to each individual soul. And each individual soul also has its own journey. And the world needs that unique individual soul that you are. The world needs you to share your gifts. The world needs you to share your love. The world needs you as that healed, empowered version of you. Because when we show up being the best that we can be, being the strongest, truest, most authentic version of ourselves, We are that strong part in the inner working mechanism that is the universe. But that mechanism is only as strong as its individual parts. So if we are plagued by shame, guilt, fear, lack, and trauma holding us back, keeping us small, living in fear and stress, we don't get to be that strong part working how it needs to work within the larger mechanism of the collective, of the world. And that's what's really needed. You as that strong part. You as that best version of yourself. And I always say best version of yourself because I realize our growth, our healing, and our evolution is never fully done. We are constantly evolving. But when you show up in that best version of yourself, then the world is getting that best version of you and can interact and rise and meet you. As an individual, you also have a very specific way that you interact and see the world. Have you ever thought about your perception and how you take it all in? I believe that we see the world through our own lens. And those lenses are made up of the experiences, the interactions, and the environments that we have come into contact with over the span of our soul's journey. And just take this into consideration. Like, I recognize that my husband and I, we can go into the same conversation with somebody. So we are both listening intently. We are taking in the same information, but we can come out of that conversation and get very different outcomes because we are taking that in through our own lens. I have my own lived experiences, beliefs, programmings, conditions, and soul history that I'm filtering all of that information through. And so is my husband, because we are unique. So we all have our own individual perception about things. Now we can totally change, grow, and evolve that perception. As you, an individual, chooses to let go of what is holding them back, heal through trauma, reprogram, shift beliefs, all of that can influence your perspective and change the lens that you see life through. I find individualism very interesting just because we are just so unique. I believe in reincarnation. I believe that we can experience many lifetimes, that we can live those lifetimes as different races and genders. And that can contribute so much to our soul's perspective, to the lenses that we have. I believe in generational trauma, that we can carry with us the imprints of what has happened to our ancestors. So not only does this lens that we experience life through have layers from our present, but it also has layers from our past and the past of our soul. And when you take that into consideration, it really is just so amazing, the uniqueness that we all can really bring to the table, bring to the collective table. But it feels like just so many of us are waiting in the wings, that those who are choosing to come to the table is very small right now because we felt so contained, so held back for so many years, decades, centuries even. Because society told us that our uniqueness and our individualism was a bad thing. And actions were taken that made us maybe even physically suffer for stepping out and embracing our individualism. But I feel that is really shifting. There is just more knowledge, understanding, wisdom within us to help us embrace that individual, to help us realize that we can grow beyond our hurt and our suffering. I really do believe that we can be in creation with our life. At one time, I believed that everything was linear, that we had like a set path, that there's all of these things are just kind of laid out in stone and we were going to like move through that path and then our life was over, done and complete. And as I just have stepped into this work as a channeler and energetic healer and interacted with numerous souls incarnated here on earth and in the astral realm and in other different areas within the universe, you just start to understand that we are in creation. We are creating the lives that we are living. And when you take that in and you mix that with this idea of the individual and that we all have something unique to bring to the table, it just makes my heart swell. We have the power within us to create something different. We have the power within us to create a different tomorrow. We just have to choose. And that choice might mean working through your trauma, healing past wounds, letting go of resentment, regulating your nervous system, walking yourself closer to a felt sense of safety. All of that is choice. All of that is within your power to create as an individual. We can get stuck and stalled out sometimes. I recognize that some of us might get stuck in victimhood and put the blame and the power into the hands of others. This happened to me. They did this to me. They'll never let me do that. They'll never let me live that down. This belief that we're always the victim. And that can be a really hard place to be in. But you, as the individual, can choose different. You can choose to evolve past that sense of victimhood and embrace your individual power. You can choose the steps that move you towards the person you want to be. And those steps might be really hard. They might churn up pain, but you can move through it. What's waiting on the other side is so much better than the suffering that you sit in now. And I've walked the journey. I sat in suffering and I realized that that is not where I wanted to live my life. That is not the feeling that I wanted, and I chose different. And that choice was just small steps. One small choice after another, just one foot in front of the other, until I looked back and realized how far I had come. Didn't even recognize the person that I had left behind me. And that evolution came with channeling. Channeling brought me my personal power. Channeling just brought me an opportunity to reconnect with me, my soul, my essence, my individuality. Because you see, before I ever started formally channeling, I started the process to get there. And the process to get to that person of who was formally channeling. And that started simply by creating a connection with myself. I gave myself time and space to listen to my body, and that allowed me to develop a relationship with myself, one that evolved to deep love, compassion, and trust. I grew to be able to listen to my body, my soul, and my intuition for what I needed to address within myself, what I needed to feel better, what I could do to deepen the love for me. It wasn't this checklist of things that needed fix. And when I say fix, I want to use air quotes because we all think that we need to be fixed. No, channeling just brought me closer to that felt sense of safety. And it pulled me towards seeing my trauma and choosing to do something about it. And I started to heal layer by layer. What grew from that was trust. My body and soul guided me to what needed to be addressed. For the first time, I was listening to me, not the external voices, the prompts, the expectations, all of the noise that society was telling me the person I needed to be. I started to actually listen to me and follow that and take action. And then when I listened and I followed that and I took action and the outcome made me feel good, I realized a trust started to build because that direction come from me. My life became more vibrant. Joy started to be felt and understood. I just kept following that process deeper and deeper, listening deeper and deeper. And what I realized happened is I started to be able to communicate with different energies outside of myself. So today I recognize those energies that I first started connected with were my spirit guides, past loved ones, and my soul family. And a connection with them made me feel so loved. And it made me realize that if I had nothing, the fact that they would be there to support me and love me is all that I would need. Because you see, our spirit team are there for us, the individual. The guides that step in are your guides. They're there to help you in those moments that you need them. And when you grow and transcend and you've learned and evolved and you no longer need them, they move on. And new guides come in. New supportive souls come in to help you, to learn, to grow, to heal and evolve, because they're there for you, for that individual. So maybe now is the time where you want to embrace that individual, but you maybe don't know how. But you feel that there's something shifting within you, something that is being called forward, something that's asking you to connect deeper, to go deeper. I can help you with that. I am offering a masterclass, Discovering Your Intuitive Connection, May 5th. And guess what? It's free. May 5th, 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. This is an opportunity for you to connect deeper with your intuition, for you to connect deeper with that individual. I remember the day that I made that connection, that deep feeling I had in my gut, the knowing that I could do anything, go anywhere, and be anything. It was strong, pulled me forward. And it wasn't because I was perfect. It's because I was being a true, authentic individual. My individual personal power. I want to just share and empower the individual. So join me for this free 2-hour masterclass. We're just going to really embrace that individual and just identify just various aspects that build that individual and how you can deepen the relationship with yourself and embrace your intuitive abilities. And when we do all of that, we really can just take that essence and that juiciness of our soul and just really start to step out into the world in a whole new way. And I would just really love to share that with you because my life has changed completely when I really tapped into my intuition and my individual power. And I can see what the world would be like if we all could do that. So join me. I would love to have you there. Take care, everybody.